Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to his holy and divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to everything that's pertaining to Islam and the uplifting of fallen humanity. I give honor to everyone who has tuned in with us this evening. I give honor to my sisters on the panel, and I give honor to all of you who may catch this later. I give special honors to Sister S. Johnson Ill, who is one of the founders of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. I did so because doing this show has really done a lot for my spirit. So I wanted to give honors to that sister for the thought that she came up with. And our topic this evening is, what have I created? Creating with a purpose or by accident? I am Sister Ingrid Ill, Washington, D.C., Temple 71.
Islam, Islam, Islam. First, I'd like to rise and give all praises to Allah, honor to our holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and honors to each and every one of you. Honors to my co-hosts on Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Honors to humanity. Islam. This is Sister Tiffany Hopkins Bay out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Temple number 11. Islam Wars.
Islam.
Islam. I give
Islam.
honors to all that Sister Greg Ill gave honors to. I give honors to each and every one of you. I'm Sister T. Britt Bay from Washington, D.C., Temple 71. I welcome all of the viewers this evening. Tonight we want to talk about, what have I created? And I'd like to say that what intrigued this topic was a thought of mine, my own. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, remember when back in the day, or maybe yesterday, things that mattered then don't matter today because of growth and change. Things that weren't so big of a deal then are a big deal today. And I'm just going to leave it right there. Just want to talk about some of the things that I know me personally, things I may have said, and we're learning that a thought turns into an action, and then there's a creation. And I know myself, years ago, there were things that I said that I never really thought about the creation because I didn't even know about it. I didn't know that I was a creator. I just learned that. And so, but I thought it was just a normal thought. So let's just get into the topic. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just get into the topic a bit. I have a question. So my question is, let me say it. Excuse me for 1 minute. I don't remember it offhand. So my question is, how do you deal with the manifestation of a thought that seemed fitting or harmless at the time?
So with that question, I'm sorry, I just want, for the sake of clarity, has it become harmless, or we just talking about the manifestation?
Well, let's say that even if it's not harmless, let's say that it's not, or it's ran its course. It's just not what
we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, let's just say that.
Okay.
Maybe it worked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But over the years, if you've outgrown things. And so that creation is not, you didn't see that part of it. You know
right.
what I'm saying? So here it is, like voila.
So read it one more time for me, sis.
Okay. So it says, how do you deal with the manifestation of a thought that seemed fitting or even harmless, not that big of a deal at the time that you had it?
I guess it would depend on what that thought created. Like, did it create something positive, something harmonious, or did it create havoc or chaos or hurt to someone else or to myself? So I guess it would depend on what it created. So if it created something harmful, I would of course reflect on what it was I was thinking about. Honest to Brother D. Hart Bay, who always says we have to think about what we thinking about. Um and I would try not to have those thoughts. Cause see, sometimes we can't control the thoughts that come in, but we can control if we
Absolutely.
entertain them. We can control if we
Exactly.
entertain
Exactly.
them, So
Absolutely.
um if we reflect, if we play our record back and we say, okay, I remember how this went before, right? So let me like shift the thought, shake the thought off and try to replace it. I like to replace a not so good thought with two or three more better thoughts. I really do, because it helps me push past that unhealthy thought. And if it was something great that manifested from the thought, I would say, okay, well, how can I take this a step further? How can I make it even better the next time? So that's,
Hmm.
yeah, that was a good question, sis.
Islam,
Yes.
I would say, when I thought about it, I would have to say acceptance first.
Mm-hmm.
Acceptance of what has been created, depending on, like you said, the outcome. And in my case, a thought that triggered this topic, it's changed. The thought itself was never a bad thought, but because of the fact that it was a selfish thought, I never thought about anybody in the thought but self.
Mm-hmm.
So I never thought about who it might affect in the long run. And that's when we talk about looking at the big picture of things. And I didn't do that. I didn't know how to do that. I thought that as far as I took the vision, I thought that was the big picture. So here I am today, and I guess it's run its course. The thought was good, and it was good for some years, and it's ran its course. But here I am now, that it's having a whole another effect that I didn't see in the vision. So the way I'm dealing with that now, that I know, because the first thing I had to first recognize was, you created this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm to a point I ain't feeling it no more. So it's like I started looking at other people being the problem, and I had to look at me like, hold up, can't nobody create your thought. You created that. And so I had to accept that part first. Like, wow, because I was here with it. And I had to accept that part of it. And then the other part is, if anybody was affected by the thought, I also have to be understanding and patient. Understanding, one, that just because now that I've had an awakening, that it ain't just gonna change like that either. And the patience is, if it affected anybody, um, that the turnaround is gonna take some time, because that's gonna be a transition, but mainly for me. But I'm willing to take the transition. But the main thing was acceptance that I created it. And then looking at, okay, well, what we gonna do about that?
Praise Allah. So, praise Allah for, first of all, the prophet teaching us that we are creators
Yes.
and that we have the ability to, in a sense, set the ethers in a certain vibration, have them go in a certain direction. And also, knowing that the wise man doubteth often.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you think about the thoughts that you have to look at the intention behind the.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about the intention behind the thought, you can either continue to go with that thought once you've thought about that intention, or you can try to redirect that thought. to get it to a higher plane. And I think
Mhm.
that at times, not knowing what the outcome is going to be later on, we have to consider all things and all people that are involved.
Mm-hmm.
But first considering thyself, because as you said, um, when not even knowing how the thought was going to be, and you was only thinking about how you was going to feel. I think when we're learning ourselves, that we begin to not only just think of ourselves, but think about the impact that our thoughts and actions are going to have on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to praise the Lord for Sister Greer said, that the brother stated. You have to think about that thought. Yes, you have to contemplate, consistently contemplate how this can go, because we know that when our attentions are for the good, for the positive, it may not always go that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, praise the Lord for being able to, being that creator and making your own. Because if it didn't work out how you originally thought it was going to work out, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Praise the Lord. Let's switch that around. Let's figure out how we can
Mm-hmm.
turn that around and make it
Mm-hmm.
into something positive, so that's something you can be happy with and be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the
And the
Lord.
prophet teaches us everything that can be made can be unmade
That's
Amazing.
too.
right.
If you have if something goes left, you always have the opportunity to make it right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's right. Praise the Lord. Sister Grill, you got your question ready?
No, you can go ahead, sister.
All right. Praise the Lord. So my question is, give me 1 second. What part do you play in your own happiness in life?
Islam, I play a major part because I have learned that no one can give me that. I have to create that myself. And I know that things and people, well, I'll say people, can add to it and they can take away from it, but that's all by my own doing. So I'll say me.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
So read the
Yeah.
question again, sister.
What part do you play in your happiness in life?
I'm the star. I'm the main character of
There
my
it is.
happiness.
Absolutely.
I'm the
Absolutely.
star. Yeah. Now that's not to say other people cannot enhance my happiness, because
Right.
Exactly.
people do enhance my happiness, as well as some may deplete us of our peace. But we
Right.
are the creators. We can say, "Hey, halt!" I
Yes.
have to. I
Yes.
have to separate what's good for, because a lot of times I found myself feeling just so ugly inside, trying to protect others' feelings
Mm.
while hurting myself, right? And so some time ago I made a decision, because look, I give people way more leeway than they really deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly do. Um, and I don't know how to. I'm not going to say I don't know how to. I am beginning to separate what's enough leeway and what's just straight up ridiculous, you know,
Right.
because I'm important. My feelings are important. So I'm responsible for my happiness. I am the star. I am the main character.
Praise the Lord. Um, it's praise the Lord for y'all answers. So to me, my happiness to myself, and the part that I play in my own happiness, is making sure that I am okay. And so a part of that for me, now this is me personally, I have other people around me on a day-to-day basis. I have 4 little broke best friends. Um,
Yeah.
and their happiness plays a, because see, when I see them happy, I'm happy. So
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna just share a little story with y'all. So every day we get up in the morning, and now this is me and my four broke best friends, right? So we get up every morning, and then we have a routine. We have to get up. We gotta, get ourselves ready to get out the door at a certain time. And my friends don't like to get up. They don't want to get up because they were watching TV late at night, even when, they were told to turn it off. And so, praise Allah, we get to the point where we make it out the door and to school. And then in the afternoon, it's the same type situation. I have to come and bring them, home or whatever, and then get back to work. And they are upset. They're tired. You know how some little people can be when they're tired because they just spent 8 hours, and then they're hungry and they don't want to be bothered. And so, I have to decide within myself, like, am I going to let their mood affect my mood? Because see, I still have to go back to my job and smile. And even though I may be exhausted, I know that when I get home at around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I got a bunch of homework I got to help with and papers I got to sign. But do I allow them to affect me? No, because at the end of the day, they're going to be all right. See, that's the thing. I think, praise the Lord for what Sister Grill said, giving people more than they are deserving of. So I can't allow that. I can't allow anyone else's vibration to set me in a position where my vibration is off. Because see, that's when you're not winning. You're not winning when someone else's attitude and disposition can affect you and make you have an attitude and disposition. And that's not only for my little broke best friends, but that's for people in general. I would say AKA my children. Because my little children is something else. But this is something that I go through daily. Sometimes people come, you could be just in the grocery store or something else. Someone is having a moment. Because see, let's be clear about something. We are humans and we are bound down by this carnal nature. So there are times when we all, even me, go through something. And I'm like, I'm not really feeling it at this moment. I may need to take a break. I may need to step away. I may need to go pray, go sit in the car, pray for a minute, just get my thoughts in order, get in tune with the spirit of Allah. And so, therefore, that's me taking time for myself to make sure that I'm okay. Because we know that the unhappiness and the attitudes and dispositions, that's only but for a moment, because that's going to pass away. But we know that the Allah and man is going to be here forever. So we have to content ourselves with that. We got to keep that in mind at all times. When something comes, when those storms, come across your shoulders and try to shake you up and blow you all over the place, you got to be firm. You got to be firm on those lessons from the prophet, because at the end of the day, you are the example. Imagine if you were to allow everyone's disposition who has affected you that day to tear you down, you'd be a mess. You'd be a mess. So it's important to take that time for yourself and get your thoughts back on high vibrations, so that maybe by you being in your higher self, you can inspire others to be in their higher self.
That's long. I know about them broke best friends. I got a little broke best friend too. Yes, indeed.
They truly are my best friends. We shop together, we go out together, we eat together. They just ain't never got no money, and that's okay. That's okay.
Never got no money.
I love them still.
That's cute.
Never. And since I apologize, I guess I didn't really expound as much as, of what part I play in my happiness. The little things in life, really, I'm really a simple sister. Simple in the way of the most littlest things bring a smile to my face. I could just take a bubble bath and be just so content. Or I could be cleaning up and listening to music and be so content. I could be sitting here and reading a book,
Mm-hmm.
So content. And I can just think back to when I could not sit still. I did not like being by myself.
Mm.
Oh, it was a whole committee up here. You know what I'm saying? Just
Mm-hmm.
in
Right.
my head, just talking and screaming and arguing with each other. And look, all of the voices were my own. You know, the 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 peace of just being able to just sit with myself is because I prayed for that.
Right.
Like I wanted to be happy. The prophet teaches us that um our future happiness depends on our present choices. So today I choose to beg Allah
That's right.
for a peace of mind, for a lighter heart, to whatever that's affecting me spiritually and emotionally and physically too. Please lift it.
That's
Remove
right.
people who I can't seem to remove from my life myself and give
Right.
me peace with that. And let me
Right.
tell you something. It's awesome. It's
Yes.
awesome to be able to sit with myself and
Yeah.
not even trip about it. It's my jam.
That's
Being in
right.
here, being in here by myself. And that look, that is not to say that I don't want a life partner, that I don't want my children around. I don't want to spend time with my grandbaby or my squad or my other organization that I go to for 12-step survival. Um,
Right.
you know, none of that. But the fact that
Mhm.
I can be in here and do those little things to enhance my own happiness, praise
Right.
Allah for it.
Mhm.
Yes. It's a blessing. It's a blessing when the little things can make you feel so high. Because I recall being out in the world and, just being candid for a moment, being out in that world and doing some of the things that I used to do. You would think back then that those are things made you happy, and in reality, they did not.
Mm, it's
They did not.
something.
And praise the Lord for the prophet, showing us that we can be good Moorish American Muslims and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blessing to
Mm-hmm.
know that and to be able to, say to your tempter, away from me all tempting thoughts. Because we know the difference now. See, let's be clear. We have to be clear. Because some of us out here straddling that fence, and we know that we not happy straddling that fence. We know we not. And so we have to be clear. Are those things out there in that world making you happy? Or is being upright, fearless, caring for your loved ones,
Yeah.
being righteous, is that making you happy? There's a
Mhm.
difference because it's way different. It's way
Mm-hmm.
different. And I'm so grateful to Allah because I remember in the beginning, I thought that when I first joined, I thought that I could do the two. And I'm gonna tell you, my head was spinning. I was like, I gotta get myself together because this is not working. It wasn't, first of all, I'm not a person that I can't, I don't lie well, can't do that. It's just not in my character. And so, back when I was young, because I was young when I joined the Moorish Science Temple of America, um, it just wasn't working out well. And I was like, nah, I gotta give it all up. If I'm gonna give it up, I can't give a piece of it up. I got to give it all up, wholeheartedly
Mhm.
give it up. And praise Allah for that because that has changed my life in such drastic ways for the better. It's a blessing to be able to say that you're out here living right, trying to do the best that you can
Mm-hmm.
among
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
your brothers and
Yeah.
sisters, trying to do the best you can for yourself. Like I think people take that for granted, and we don't realize the impact that we have in this world. And we gotta stay in tune with that because when you live in the life that the prophet has set out, listen, you're doing wondrous things.
Mhm.
It's long.
It's
It's
fine.
long. You're right, sis. Creating happy moments and memories. I'm really big on that. Like I was just saying, there was a time where I had to be everywhere, but now I just don't. I can't. And my squad from my other organization, they do it. They go out and enjoy each other on a regular. I be like, I be right here. I catch on the next one. Then the next one kind of say, well, I catch on the next one. But I love to go and support them on their birthdays, their anniversaries, when they get together. We go out to eat. We may go dance a little bit. And we none of us indulge. So, we happy sipping on, I know I'm happy sipping on my little pineapple juice and ginger ale and still enjoying life. And people
That's
would ask
right.
me, how do you enjoy life? I said, because I create it. I
That's
create
right.
the happiness I want. I
You have
create
to. You
a
have
That's
to.
joyful
right.
time, a joyous time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, music has always been the high for me. So
You're
there it
right.
is. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Okay.
That's love.
I think our questions are kind of lined up with each other, and I guess um anyway, I'm gonna read it anyway.
Okay.
So it says when you are trying to create a loving and harmonious condition, and it doesn't manifest in the way you hoped it would, and you're filled with hurt, disappointed, and sometimes both, what do you do to get to the other side of that feeling?
Wow. Well, I think
Islam.
for me, okay,
Okay.
go ahead, sis.
Now go
You
And
ahead.
I'll
good?
read it again. I can read it again after Sister Britt back.
Mm-hmm.
Which would you say?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh. Read it for me one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay. When you are trying to create a loving and harmonious condition and it doesn't manifest in the way you hoped it would, and you're filled with hurt, disappointment, and sometimes both, what do you do to get to the other side of that feeling?
So I would say that I'm there now. Um, and if I could just briefly share, just to give you all some insight. So years ago, when I was young, I had an aunt that I admired, and she lived alone. And I admired how she lived, how she entertained, and all of that. And she's always been my idol for years. And I always dreamed for a long time. I can't wait to be on my own. I can't wait to have my own place, because I wanted my place set up and designed just like hers. Mind you, in this thought, there was nobody included but me. And I end up later having kids, all of that. And then so kids got grown, moved out. Finally got to a place that I got my own place, and love it. I still like it, but it's having its downside to it now. And like I said, for a long time I wanted to blame other people. I don't I had to just look at what I created. I kept saying, oh, I love living by myself. I love living by myself. I love cutting my grass. I love planting my flowers. I love bagging my leaves. I love doing my yard. I love washing my truck. Not realizing that those thoughts that I had actually created my life, and it spoke to other people independence, to the point that people didn't see that I needed any help in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say this to say that back then, when I thought, who would think that, just to say to yourself that I can't wait to live on my own, that I would get to this point. That's what I was talking about in the beginning when I said things that wasn't that big of a deal. Me saying that didn't seem to be that big of a deal. But here I am at this point in my life, and there are things missing. And the things that are missing are just based on how I set things up, even for myself. And having to swallow that pill that I created my space to be just this, because I spoke it into existence so much, to the point that the things that do matter to me, they're not around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, glad to say now my daughter here, you know, and it's a struggle. It's a transition for me, because I'm so used to things being certain ways, this, that, and the third, but yet at the same time, I can't have my cake and eat it too. It's either you want them around, or you just want your place to look like a museum. Which one? So you're gonna have to relax a little bit, Tracy. Make it more welcoming so that your kids are there more. The fact about I feel like, I got men in my family, nobody comes and offer to cut the grass or do this or do that, the yard work for me or wash my truck or you need any help down there. I don't get that. But I had to accept the fact that you did that. Because I put it out there like I got it. I can handle it. So that's what I'm talking about. The things that didn't matter, didn't seem that big of a deal, they do today. And I'm dealing with that. And the way that I'm dealing, excuse me, the way that I'm dealing with that, one is I'm being boisterous about it. I got sisters in my life that I can talk to, that I can get feedback from, applying my lessons. You know what I'm saying? Looking at me and the part I play, and then looking at how can you change this? So I know I had to create I'm having to create a formula for myself. That's what's going to help me get to the other side of this. And I have to create a formula. And like I said earlier, understanding plays a major part. And me being patient, because just because I've had this awakening doesn't mean that, I look in terms of how much did this affect my son? How much did this affect my daughter? Because my house spoke independence. My house spoke that she don't want nobody in here but her. So how did that affect them? You understand what I'm saying? So it's having conversation. And once again, just understanding that it still may not turn around to be the way that I want, but just the part that what's refreshing for me is the fact that I know that I can change me. Can't fix nobody else, but I can fix me. And in order for me to be, I love what contributes to my happiness is me seeing others around me happy. So it starts with me. It starts on the inside. And like I said, me having to create a formula for myself. So that's what's going to help me get to the other side. And just being open to what comes my way, whatever people Allah send my way to give me some suggestions on that or just show me, I've been shown things. People don't even know what you're going through sometimes. And then Allah send somebody your way and show you a little something. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just being open to it. But I just wanted to share that part because that's really where I am today. And it was amazing. It was just amazing to know that, I did this. And so if, like you said, sis, what has a beginning has an end. What has been done can be undone. And I'm just grateful for that. Praise Allah for that.
Praise Allah. Can you repeat the question again, Sister Greta?
Absolutely. Okay, so when you are trying to create a loving and harmonious condition and it doesn't manifest in the way you hoped it would, and you're filled with hurt and disappointment, and sometimes both, what do you do to get to the other side of that feeling?
Okay. So praise Allah for that question, because as you were reading and I was thinking about, what I was going to expound on. But for me, when I'm trying to create a harmonious and loving environment or condition, and it doesn't go that way, whether it's disappointment or hurt, at times, I'm gonna just be honest, at times low self may get me. I just sometimes get in my feelings, I honestly do. I think that's because I have certain expectations of people. And what I have learned is that you cannot set expectations for people because those expectations are yours and they may not live up to them. So when I'm in my feelings, I praise a lot for my husband, Brother T. Hopkins Bay, because I often talk to him. And sometimes I will talk his head off and he would just be like, it's going to be all right. But for me, that's my way of venting and getting it out, because I often want to hear someone else's perspective on whatever it is I'm going through. But there are times when I choose to just say, you know what? Praise Allah. I tried. I tried to create this harmonious and loving environment, and that person, didn't respond well to it. And it may not be their intention to not respond well to it. But once again, it was my expectation. And so at times when people don't know how to do something, you can't expect them to do certain things. And so I'll use an example. Praise a lot for my mother and my father. But my father is I'm his only child, but I talk to him and I see him every so often. There's a number of years that go through before I see him. There may be a year or two in between when I, through talking to him. But I can't be angry at him for what he does not know how to do. I can't be angry at that. I can't be upset about that. Is it disappointing? Yes, it can be. But at the same time, I have to look at the good within the situation and take the high from the situation and say, you know what? It may not be as often as I want it to, but I do speak to him. It may not be as often as I think it should be, but at least I do see him. At least my children know who he is. At the end of the day, I love both of my parents. And I feel like when you are trying to get in contact or get connected more with people, at times they just may not know how. And you have to forgive them for they know not what they do. And it's okay. At the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with the fact that it's okay. Now, when it comes to other, random people, you give them the best that's within you and continue to be content with that. Because a lot of times you can give people everything you have, all the good that you possess. And at the end of the day, you still may not get the response that you're looking for. And it's not for you to turn around and say, well, I gave you everything that I have and you ain't give me nothing. No, it's for you to take that and just be content with what you gave. Just say, praise Allah that I knew right from wrong. Praise Allah that I knew how to love and not demand love in return. Praise Allah that I knew how to be, faithful and loving and true. Praise Allah for that. Because see, we have to remember when either we didn't know how, just like they did, or we weren't showing it. And so we have to put ourselves in the other person's shoes and have empathy on them. We have to be forgiving. We have to be forgiving because that's what we're supposed to do. Yes. That's what we're supposed to do. And if the shoe was on the other foot, we would want people to forgive us.
Forgive us, absolutely.
And although I'll just say this briefly, I have had conversations with certain people that I've had the expectations for, and they haven't lived up to them. I've had conversations because I'm as I said earlier in the show, I'm not a person that's able to not tell truth. Like I feel like if we go through something, or excuse me, if I feel some type of way, we have to have a conversation because I need for you to know how I felt and I need to know how you felt so that I can know if that was your intentions or not. And 9 times out of 10, when I've had those conversations with different people, the outcome has always been beautiful. Because they did not know either it affected me the way it did, or they did not know that that was the odor that they were giving off. Because sometimes we give off these odors. And that meaning it could be disposition, it could be attitude, it could be vibration, it could be, whatever. But sometimes we give off these things and we don't even know that that's what we're doing. We don't even know that that's what we're doing until someone makes us aware. And so when you make someone aware, then they cannot say that they didn't know. So you have to give people the opportunity to make that speedy reparation. You have to give people that opportunity to be their best selves when it comes to dealing with you or anybody else. Because if you don't tell them or don't discuss with them what that issue may have been, then they would have never known.
That's right. That's right. And that's called being fair too, because that's the way you can help others, because they may not realize what, like you said, odor they gave off, and they probably don't want to be giving off that scent.
Right.
So to help them is to address the issue.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And when I try to make those create those conditions, harmonious and loving conditions, and it goes a little not the way I hoped it would, first I have to say, well, did I go about that the right way? Like,
Right.
and I start playing the tape back, and I said, well, yeah, because my intentions were pure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, praise Allah. They're just not ready to accept it. I have really started to practice on not taking things personal, right? All the time, because there are times that depending, you might catch me at the wrong time, and it could be a little different, right? I'm not going to front that I'm just a walking balloons and bubbles and rainbows, because that's not me.
Start early. Right.
Yeah, but I am a star. I am a star, but sometimes I could be the character that people don't like and still be the main character.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, I remember when I was in kindergarten. And I don't know if y'all remember when we used to get up from our naps, and we used to, if we fold up our mats or our towels or whatever we had, we fold them up and put it up in a reasonable amount of time, we get a star, a gold star, a silver star, or whatever like that. And I had this really good friend, Mexican girl by the name of Elizabeth. I remember Elizabeth like yesterday. She was so pretty, so had all this hair, and she was very, very hairy. And I mean, just hair everywhere. She was so pretty, and we were best friends. Everything we did it together. She wasn't waking up from her nap, and I was shaking her, saying, "Wake up so you can get your star. Wake up so you can get your star." And I was so excited about trying to wake her up so she can get her star. And she looked up at me and said, "Leave me alone." And the hair on my neck stood up. I was 5 years old. I would never forget it. The hair on my neck stood up. I was angry. And I was angry and I was hurt at the same time. Like, I'm trying to help you. I mean, I couldn't articulate it back then, but in hindsight, I was feeling like I'm trying to help you and you went off on me. So I took her towel from the behind her and snatched it from under her, and her head hit the ground, the floor, and her teeth got knocked out.
Oh, wow.
So
growth and unfoldment.
Ooh, I mean, can you imagine being sent home in kindergarten? Like, who does that? So, I created that. Even then, I created that. But I realized that sometimes things are not going to go as you plan, no matter how pure your intentions was. You have to stay on your square. Don't go left because they went left. And I'm not saying that it will never happen again, but I know how to still myself a little better now than I did just 5 years ago. I came in the movement, praise Allah. I came in the movement over 10 years ago now. And I'm going to tell you, outside of having my children and Allah rescuing from myself, it has been the best thing that ever happened to me. These lessons are powerful. The lessons are powerful if we apply them.
They are.
I agree with that.
Definitely.
This Quran can create the life for you that you choose. if you follow them.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Do we
That's
have any more questions?
we do. Give me 1 second. We have a question. This is from our dear sister who was not able to be with us tonight, Sister A. Ravenel Bay. And she says, what are 3 things you want to create right now for yourself? So I'll start. Um, love, peace, and happiness. No,
Well, I
I'm
was
joking.
gonna say that. But it's true, Bill, because we all want that
Yes,
in our life. We really
right,
do.
right,
We
and
hold on to all the time or forever.
right.
Um, because instruction that says, and help me out because I can't quote them word for word, but the
Mm-hmm.
one that says joy always have its admixture of sorrow or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Um,
Mm.
which
It's
one
in
is it?
misery. I know it's in the chapter misery. So you can't have the good without the bad,
Right,
basically.
right.
But
There's an
I wanted to
admixture
give
of, yeah.
the
No one is
instruction right.
entirely good or evil. Right. Got you. Got you.
Right.
Mm.
So I think we
Yes.
all want to be able to create that. I know I do in my own personal life, but
Yeah.
I know that at the same time, I can't just walk around with peace as much as I would
Right.
love to. There's always things, but those things that enter in the process of me trying to create peace and love and happiness in my life. I know those things are to only help enhance and give me more strength to keep pushing
Mm-hmm.
forth to bring that creation about. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's good that we have those that friction in our life to challenge us,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we may think that we have arrived or everything is all good, and
Mm-hmm.
everything can be good at the moment, but we always have to be aware and alert for the unknown because it's going to come unexpectedly. It's going to come without even being invited, and we know that. So we should have to always just be prepared for it. But I know me myself. I wish I could live a life of just happiness and love and peace, 24/7. I don't even know if I can handle that. I really don't. But I try to have that. I try to have that. I try to orchestrate that in my life, and I try to do that by doing something kind for someone else because it warms my heart to see that somebody else has peace. It warms my heart to see that somebody else is happy. I can see somebody on the street. You know how you see homeless people, and I know you all have seen this, and I always be thinking they're intoxicated because they just bust out laughing for no reason. First, they'll be talking to themselves, and then they'll just bust out laughing. And for whatever reason, when I say I be tickle pink when I see that, I don't know if laughter is allergic or
Contagious.
what,
It's
but
contagious.
yeah, that's what I meant, contagious. But when I see that, and then I start thinking of the individual themselves, and I'm like, it appears that this person doesn't have nothing like what I have as far as a home and all of those things, food and shelter and stuff. I said, but they can still find a way to chuckle, and that just
Mm.
amazes me, So, and I just laugh right now. I just
Yeah.
stare at them and just laugh. I don't even know what they're laughing at. Yeah.
Right. That's a
So,
blessing.
Dr. Bay, you had
Yeah.
your thought was
Oh, I didn't even get to it yet.
okay.
So, um, so we did say love, peace, and happiness. Oh, so I was actually, before I got to my thought, I was going to comment on Sister Britt Bayes. When she was saying she wouldn't know how to handle it if she was always that way. I think without a foe, as it says in our Quran, without a foe, a soldier never knows his friend. So
Yeah.
I feel like, we have to go through certain experiences and situations in order to build ourselves up. Because see, if everything was always as the sister said, rainbows and butterflies and stars and gold
Exactly.
stars and all that type stuff, how would you be able to tell whether or not you're growing mentally? So I think for me, it's important to know that you're gonna suffer some things. You're gonna go through some tests. We all, each and every one of us, is gonna go through some type of test, and it depends on how we react to those tests, how whether or not we pass or fail. So when it praise God for the question, when it talks about three things would you want to create for yourself, I truly do believe love, peace, and happiness. We know that, first of all, love is the only savior of the world.
That's all.
And although we may say, we love thy neighbor, we love this person and that person, and do we really? I think we at times try to do our best by people. And at times we may lose ourselves in trying to do our best for others. And so we have to take that into consideration, because I think that helping or doing good for someone else does not mean you have to lose yourself within that.
Right.
You can only be good to someone else if you're good to yourself. So, having peace of mind, that is something that I think at times I still struggle with, because I feel like when there's a lot going on, how like people throw around like I'm stressed, I suffer from anxiety, I suffer from different things. I think at times that's because we have a lot of things coming at us at once. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming. I know for me personally, there are a lot of days where I feel like I am overwhelmed. Like my mind is literally all over the place and I need to center myself. And praise Allah for being able to meditate and saying your prayer and going into your Quran. So for me personally, if I don't get a chance to go into my Quran on a specific day, I will just start to think about the lessons and the instructions in the Quran. Because say for instance, I'm at the store from sun up to sundown. Well, I may not have an opportunity to literally physically go into the book, but I go into the book within my mind, because those instructions can settle you. It can calm you. With that and saying your prayer, that's peace of mind. Asking Allah, please let me be able to center my thoughts and ground myself. Because I think that's something that we often take for granted. We're constantly moving day to day. We're constantly doing many, many things every day. And you have to take that moment for yourself. And as far as the happiness part, I think to be content is to be happy. And so with that being said, all those other things about loving and being in peace and, peaceful state of mind, being able to create, because see, that's another thing, and praise Allah for the topic. We have to create that peaceful state of mind. And so all those, when you do all those things, then to be content is to be happy. So those are my three things.
Praise Allah. I would really like to create a pain-free frame, a pain-free body. I would really love, and I'm working on that. I'm working on that right now. I am creating a better relationship with my daughter. I was telling y'all before that how you used to say, I used to tell all the time, I'm not one of your little friends, but I like I like being her little friend.
Ah,
I really
yes.
like. I'm enjoying building a friendship with my daughter. I mean, she's an adult. Um, Program Marshal Canarbe always says we have to allow our children their experiences. You know,
Yeah.
whether and sometimes their experiences leave us hurt, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean we can't instill in them or give them insight on what we've already been through. So I'm creating a friendship with my daughter, and
That's right.
um, that is good for me. Um,
I'm sure.
and the other thing would be a business for
Mm.
myself. I cook, I bake, I do hair, I do a
Mhm.
lot of things. Um, my body, on the other hand, doesn't always work with me. My
Mm.
mind is there, but my body be like, "Ha, sit down, girl. You tried it." But if I can get this body there, at least eliminate half of the pain that I struggle with. And let me tell
Mm.
you, I really don't look. I guess I really don't look like what I go through every day. And Sister Britt Bay, you said it. People should always check on your strong friends. The people who you
Mhm.
think that are strong and
Yeah.
seem to be doing it all by themselves, check on them. They may not want to do it all by themselves.
Right.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, I there's a lot of things I can do by myself, but I don't want to. I just have to because I'm by myself. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so those are the things I want to create for myself. I want to create a life free from judgment, burdens,
Mm.
drama. I don't have any of that. No drama in my life. Praise Allah for that.
Praise the
Um, you know, I just want to create my heaven.
Yeah.
I can create my own heaven right
That's
here
right.
on earth. I can create my heaven or I can create my hell. I choose to create the heaven.
Mm.
And I'm climbing them ladders. I don't have a
Right.
choice. Not with this. I don't have a choice. Not with
That's
this.
right.
Right.
So praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Any
So
more questions? I know we almost coming to the end.
we are coming to the end. Are there any final remarks that you ladies would like to give?
Well, I would definitely like to say that looking at you sisters, y'all are doing my spirit some kind of good because y'all are beautiful.
You as well,
Oh,
sis.
I mean, y'all
You
are
as
really,
well.
really beautiful. Them my
Praise.
sisters right there.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Praise Allah.
Um, and
Thank you.
honest to Sister El Berry Bay and Sister A
Abraham.
Reverend
Yeah.
Bay. They send their Islams to the viewers. Um, yeah, that's about it out of me.
Praise Allah. Sister Brooke Bay, you have anything?
I don't.
Praise Allah. Well, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. I hope and pray that it was an uplifting conversation for you all to bear witness to. I know it was definitely uplifting for us.
Yes.
I'd also like to make a few announcements. Um, if you like the show, please give it a thumbs up, share a comment, or tell a friend. And thank you all for all your comments. And I would just like to say, if you all could tune into our Friday Holy Day meeting, which is on the Moorish Science Temple Inc. Facebook page on Friday nights at 7:30, and Sunday school is on Sunday at 2 p.m. Also, stay tuned for Universal Love, which is every other Wednesday, and stay tuned for Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk, which is every other Thursday. We hope that you've had a blessed night, and we love you all. Thank you all. Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace.